it's time we served you. You are entitled to many VA benefits, to include compensation, pension, and more. Call 937-225-4801 or online at mcvsc.org.
Liberty Mutual customizes your car and home insurance so you only pay for what you need.
Liberty, 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 liberty.
Rush. Listen to the Woj Pod wherever you get your podcast.
WING 1410 Dayton. Dayton's ESPN Radio.
All right, good afternoon, everybody. Welcome in. It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash live here on Dayton's ESPN radio station, 1410 Wing AM. Kev Nash, happy Tuesday.
What up, though?
Off and rolling. A lot to get into. A lot of big news today, including, well, we keep talking about the shifting of college athletics as far as what it's going to look like conference-wise. But right now, it's not a matter of what the conference look like as far as how they're structured. It's about how they look like when you're watching them on TV, and where you watch these programs on TV is going to be, well, a lot different in the near future than what we're accustomed to. But we welcome everybody in. Again, it's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash live here on Dayton's ESPN radio station, 1410 Wing AM. How about, you read about the media rights?
Big money, big bags.
We're talking stupid money right now, and it's going to impact, for every one of you out there who like to use the word, well, tradition. Well, there's nothing, tradition's thrown out the window when you have UCLA and you have USC join the Big Ten. But the tradition of, where you watch your teams play, that's out the window. You're accustomed to watching SEC football on CBS. You could hear the CBS, the chime or whatever as the game is starting. But a lot of news today, again, as the Big Ten nears a deal with Fox, CBS, and NBC. Now, there's a lot of different ways to approach how to view this. And just to give you a little bit of background information, Adam Rittenberg, who's been on the show many times, put out an article earlier this afternoon, and it starts out saying that the Big Ten is close to finalizing a new media rights agreement that will add CBS and NBC to the league's lineup while ending a long partnership with ESPN that goes all the way back to 1980, before I was even born, quite a few years before I was even born. Now, Fox will remain the Big Ten's main media partner, as the premise, of course, of this whole proposal that they are very close to finalizing here. But Fox will remain the Big Ten's media partner and had representatives attend negotiations with other potential partners during the past few months, of course. The Big Ten's 6-year media rights deal with Fox and ESPN is set to expire after this upcoming season in 2023, I should say. So, basically, just to throw some quick bullet points at you, no more Ohio State on ESPN.
Yeah.
No more ABC big-time primetime games. The big primetime game that we all gear up for at the end of the night, Ohio State will never play in one of those games again. Not because they're not primetime, not because they're not worthy, but this SEC deal with ESPN is exclusive SEC. There is no other, not programs, but there is no other leagues that are going to be displayed on ESPN moving forward. So it is going to be weird. It also impacts the timing of which we're so accustomed to our Buckeye games being kicked off at. Expect a lot more noon kicks because they are going to be the heavyweight, well, them and USC and others, of course. That list gets a little longer with the few additions of USC, UCLA. But very interesting, all of this. We're so focused on the changes of what teams are jumping from conference to conference, but where to watch these conferences plays just as much a role in how we're going to take that product in.
Yeah, absolutely. And I guess this is a question for Adam when next time we have him on the show. But if I'm correct, the understanding is it's the home team. So there is still a possibility for Ohio State to be featured in one of these ABC, ESPN night games if they're a road opponent in one of these non-conference games, because I recall, I believe it was Auburn when they came up to
Penn State.
That was a night game, but it's the home team. That's who gets the quote unquote affiliate call. That's how it used to be. I'm not sure how it's going to continue into the future, but yeah, you're right. This is definitely more changes. It's just more changes upon more changes from last year with the NIL and the transfer portal to now conference realignment and basically conference elimination with everything that's going on out there in the Pac-12 to, hey, now out turning on ESPN to catch Northwestern and Wisconsin at noon. I guess I'm about to have to turn on ABC mean NBC instead, because it's just a total shift. I mean, not only that, like we talk about like broadcasters that we grew up with and everything like that. We see this in the NFL, like broadcasters that were on NBC are now on Amazon Prime now. So it's just another shift to the sports culture. But what I really want to talk about is this screams to the fact that what moves the needle? Live sports moves the needle. These media companies would not be forking over $300 billion if they weren't getting a return on their investment. They're now hawking over that money for the newest scripted TV series, because back in the 90s and everything like that, they were pumping all their money into shows like Seinfeld and Friends and things like that. But people don't watch TV like that anymore. They wait until things jump on Netflix and they can just binge watch it and everything like that. That's not how things work now. The only thing that people watch live are live sports, because there's nothing worse in the world than hearing a score of a game before you got a chance to watch the game. That's how people always complain about the Olympics and everything like that. When it happens on the other side of the world and the game or the track and field happens at 3 a.m, and the first thing you do when you wake up is turn on ESPN and see, oh, so-and-so won the 100-meter dash. Oh, I was going to watch that tonight. And it's ruined for you. But live sports moves the needle, and they're forking over a lot of money to have these live sports.
Yeah, they are. And I guess the big question I have is we open up with this because I read this article and it fascinates me because of all the, obviously the value of this media rights deal and what it's going to do for the Big Ten and the SEC and the Big 12 as everyone's trying to, gather around the campfire and get the best seat. But which of these conferences, when you gather around a campfire, though, that there's always that one spot where that smoke is just blowing right in your face the whole entire time. Who's sitting comfortably with no smoke in their face and who's getting all the smoke kind of pumped in their face? That's basically all these conferences are sitting around trying to figure out who's going to be the odd man out, because there's a lot of money to go around, but there's still only so much money to go around. And this is across multiple platforms. So to keep in mind, the Big Ten's new agreement likely will feature CBS broadcasting football games in a mid-afternoon time slot, which of course was previously filled by SEC games. Beginning in 2024, ESPN will exclusively broadcast SEC games as part of a 10-year agreement, including College Game Day. So that also fascinated me, because College Game Day, it used to not just be, it wasn't about the Big Ten or the SEC. It was about the most intriguing, the biggest matchup. We saw you know what I mean? It didn't matter about the conference. So that's interesting. You have Fox, who of course has created their own monster of their big noon kickoff panel that, featured Urban Meyer. I believe, is Urban Meyer back? That's one thing I forgot.
I'm not sure,
but I believe he is. I believe they said that they had got him back, but I could be wrong on that.
I know Coach Stoops had stepped in for him while he was, hanging out in the NFL.
So yeah, I was
kicking kickers.
He was vacationing in Jacksonville. So they said, hey,
it's sabbatical.
So now Urban went from kicking kickers to potentially kicking off the big noon kickoff. So who knows? But I find all of this fascinating. But the big thing is I find it fascinating. But do listeners and do college football fans? 518-1410. I have a question. I'm just curious from listeners' point of view. Do you care where you watch the games? With so much change in college football, I thought this was a big deal. But now that I'm thinking about it, it's really not. Nothing. The matchups aren't going to look the same. The conference standings and alignment's not going to look the same. So does it really matter where the games are? The bottom line is this going to change? Oh man, you're not going to have that ESPN broadcast of the Buckeye game. Does it really matter? Does it matter where you watch the games? 518-1410, or of course, we're live on Facebook. Head to Facebook and leave your opinion in the comments section. Do you guys care about this? Does this matter to you? That's what I'm curious about. 518-1410, or of course, leave it in the comment section on Facebook. It's just one of those to me where obviously there is a lot of value in these conferences. And that's why you're seeing all this money that's being kind of dished out the way that it has. And it's like, it's valuable to the networks, of course, but is anyone angry today? If Ohio State never plays a game on ESPN during the regular season again moving forward, or at least for the next 10 years during this contract, does that bother you? Like, I wanted to be annoyed at first, Kev, but then I'm like, It doesn't really matter. I'm going to wake up on Saturday. I'm going to put my Buckeye jersey on. I'm going to feel all jacked about the game that day. I don't know. To me, the timing of the game matters to me more than the network that it's played on. Like, I don't want to see a bunch of noon kickoffs. You have been through this a ton over the years since doing the show together. I hate big noon kickoffs. To me, primetime is under the lights, but because of the network slots, Ohio State's going to be playing a ton of day games moving forward. Not talking about the college football playoffs. That's completely different. But as far as the regular season goes, does that hurt Ohio State? No, it's not going to hurt them recruiting. They're a powerhouse recruiting, but coaches like those under the light games.
Right.
It gives that big game feel. So there's that aspect to it. But to me, Kev, I just don't care about the network that the games air on. Do you?
I care because of the ramifications later on. I think it is going to have a slight effect on recruiting. I mean, think about it like this. You do a ton of high school football games starting next week, right? Next week.
A week from Friday.
So 10 straight weeks. That's big recruiting. So say kid X from whatever high school down here in the Miami Valley wants to go visit Ohio State, and the games end at 10 o'clock. He's not home until 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock, and the Buckeyes got a noon kick. Like, he's missing out on a big time experience and everything like that. But those night games, there's plenty of time to get up there for those games and everything like that. So I think it will have an effect on recruiting a little bit, not to the magnitude that is going to affect them where like they're not going to get guys, but like it's an adjustment. And it's an adjustment for us as fans because, like you just talked about, you weren't even alive the last time Big Ten football wasn't played on there. But the thing about ESPN, what made ESPN so special with college football is you can get Big Ten games, you get SEC games, you get ACC games, you get Pac-12 games, you get WAC games, you get MAC games, you get all the conferences on ESPN because ESPN is supposed to be the mothership of all sports entertainment, not just conference entertainment. So I think that's going to have an effect on what's spewed out from the talking heads on ESPN, which is going to mold some people's views about college football in general.
All right, 518-1410, 518-1410. That's the number to call and jump in on the conversation. This comes into the show, Kev, from Facebook. Keith Tolliver says he's not angry, but worried about when the games start and not even sure what channel is Peacock. Well, Peacock's an app, so there's that.
Yeah.
But you're talking about NBC, I'm assuming. But it's going to be weird watching Ohio State on NBC.
Yes.
It's going to be weird watching Ohio State on CBS. I will tell you what I'm excited about. I love college basketball on CBS. I love college. I can, you know what I mean? I will, if there's a better game on ESPN or another TV network and there's a less interesting game on CBS, I will watch the CBS college basketball broadcast. I know y'all don't care about that right now, but I love college basketball on CBS. I don't know why. I just think it looks better. It looks crisper. I love the theme song, the CBS college basketball theme. That's just, and I hear that song, I get goosebumps thinking of March Madness right off the bat. So there is that, but interesting nonetheless. Thank you, Keith, for sending that in. Chad on Facebook says maybe has something to do with the streaming rights and so many people getting away from cable. And that is an aspect of it too, because a lot of these channels have their own direct app that you would have then access to these games, which helps with the subscriptions and helps build that audience as well, which of course creates even bigger digital dollars on the back end. So yes, I mean, it's all a trickle down effect as far as far as that's concerned. Billy Wright says, what does this do with Notre Dame and NBC deal? That's something that they're kind of working out off to the side. But what I heard today, just listening to radio throughout the day, driving around, was that this actually helps the Big Ten in regards to landing Notre Dame. Even if Notre Dame is able to work out some weird counter side deal where they still get a good chunk of their own money from NBC, but also being involved in the Big Ten in some capacity as well, which I'm not for. If I'm Ohio State, I'm going to say, Notre Dame, shut the hell up and come and sit down with the rest of us or stay out. You're not going to get preferential treatment over us of all teams, especially who we've been kicking your ass for decades. So to me, I'm like, Notre Dame, be quiet. You don't get special treatment. Okay, that's my view. You know how I am with Notre Dame. That program drives me absolutely nuts. It's the only program I know that wins absolutely nothing, but thinks that they should be treated differently than everybody else. I believe they're called the Bengals, right? Like I'm sorry, that was uncalled for, guys. I'm just trying to get ready for the season coming up. But no, in all seriousness, to me, I don't care where the games where they air, because you know why? Ohio State, like people are saying, well, I'm going to have a hard time finding where the games are. Folks, if Ohio State's on, you're going to find it. Yeah. You're going to find it. And that's what they know as well. That's why they're paying so much for this, because they're going to get new eyes on their channels. a lot of people don't know where some of these, not that you don't know where CBS and NBC is. That's a little dramatic, but at the same time, I don't watch college football on CBS. As much as people talk about the SEC, I'm not watching the SEC. I'm watching a lot of Ohio State's upcoming opponents or common opponents, or I'm watching the Bearcats, or, so it will be, CBS will get a new viewer in me. That's
it
for sure.
speaks to who's going to be the talent on these broadcasts, because we grow up with certain voices and we get accustomed to hearing whomever called the 3:30 games and everything like that, and who calls the big night game, who calls the noon game. Like, we have a comfort level with those voices because we know that's what we're going to get. So is that going to mean there's going to be people that are currently working for ESPN going over there, or are we about to get used to a whole new crop of broadcasters calling these games and everything like that? That's another aspect that people always have a comfort to, because look at the NFL.
So the NFL, yes.
Yeah,
Good,
the
good
NFL,
call.
like, people are spending big money. Like, Tom Brady has a contract to call games and he's still playing in the NFL. And that's the other thing about it for the guy like Drew Brees, who got a big contract to work for NBC. He wasn't good at his job, and it wasn't any fault of his own. It was, hey man, he's a former quarterback and an NFL player. He didn't have so many reps calling games. Y'all just threw him on NBC primetime in the biggest spot. So, like, on ESPN, they have these noon games. They have these whack games at 10 o'clock at night. They have Maction, where they stick their young up-and-coming talent to hone their skills. I mean, we look at Kirk Herbstreit now, and he's all over the place for college football and everything like that. He used to be a sideline reporter for Thursday Night Football, out there getting interviews with the coaches, honing his skills to get better. So, like, that's what I worry about. Like, I do get turned off by bad broadcasters. Like, man, this dude's just so boring and everything like that. Or even like people that don't like Gus Johnson because he's
you don't
so
like to be
animated.
screamed at the whole broadcast?
J.T. Barrett.
And he hands it off.
So, but like, some people are like that. Some people
I
don't like that.
I'm not a Gus Johnson dude. I'm in the minority on that, but I'm like, I don't like to be. I like Chris Fowler, who's very cool, calm, and collect. Kirk Herbstreit, but then there's Gus Johnson screaming at you at the top of his lungs. I mean, my goodness, but he is very good at his job.
But like, that's a real thing. So I'm curious to see some of the names that they bring over there to call games. I mean, who's going to be the big game? Who's going to be calling the big game? I mean, Gus and Joe Klatt, they do the big noon kickoff and everything.
Joel's
like
the
that.
best. I think Joel's the best of everyone out there, as far as like, I could listen to him call a game. I could, if he's on doing a sports hit somewhere on TV, radio, I'm locked in. I think he's fantastic. I was joking about Gus is really good. He does a good job, but he's not for me. He's not my cup of tea. When you watch Ohio State in a big game, I'm used to hearing Chris Fowler, Kirk Herbstreit in the background, but who knows? But real quick, 518-1410. Do you even care where these games are played? Are we, we've spent the first 17 minutes of the show talking about this today, and I guess at the end of the day, do you care where the games are carried? Because at the end of the day, I don't. I'm gonna look at the schedule. I care about who Ohio State plays and when they play them. I don't really care where the game is carried, as far as that's concerned. I guess I care where it's carried as far as, do I get that? Do I have access to it?
Right.
But that's why the Big Ten's doing this, is because all of these channels are accessible, as far as that's concerned. But 518-1410, Kev, who we got?
We got Brian line too.
Brian, what's up? How are you, sir?
I'm doing great. How are you guys doing?
Good.
So I kind of agree with a lot of your comments. The first thing that I would say is I already feel like ESPN kind of homied out on the SEC when they started broadcasting all of their games and had that affiliation with them. So I think that may intensify a little bit if they're not carrying Big Ten games at all anymore. And I agree that I don't care which channel it's on, but I am concerned about two things. One, who are the broadcasters going to be? Because I remember when the Big Ten first started, they couldn't even keep the camera on the damn ball. It was kind of, excuse my French, sorry about that.
No, I enjoy that.
They
Thank
couldn't
you.
keep
Yes, keep, we need that the rating for the show to go up.
They couldn't even keep the camera on the ball, and it was like, this is horrible watching this on a Big Ten network. Now, I don't think NBC and CBS are going to be that bad. But I also remember a time when I couldn't watch every Ohio State game every week, when I had to sit there and listen to it on 1410 WING and listen to it on the radio because it wasn't on TV. And it seems like that hasn't happened in 4 or 5 years or 6 or 10 years. I don't know what, but are we still going to be able to see every game is my big fear.
I mean, to say that, yes, everyone will get to see every game. I think a lot of that has to do with what resources you have and what cable packages you have or what apps you have access to.
Well, I've got CBS and NBC, and I've got the Big Ten network.
Yep. So I think you're in good shape. But I know that, like, you know, for your perspective, you're in good shape. But for, you know, how common is that for everybody else? But their view is also, because I hear people say, well, how many people, what if they don't have that app? Well, now they have a reason to get it, which is one reason why they're spending so much money on these rights deals, is because, yes, to appease their current customer base, but think of all the new eyes, ears, and downloads that they're going to get for their apps moving forward. Like, this is a big picture deal, and it's a long-term deal. And I think that this is historic. When we really look back on this, we're going to realize, holy crap, like, it jumped. I think the last media deal for the SEC, Brian, was $50 million, and they just got $350 million. That's quite the gap, and that's just a 10-year difference. So that's pretty insane.
Yeah, because Brian, you got to think about it like this. Remember when the Big Ten network first came around and everybody was losing their mind because the first Big Ten network football game was going to be Ohio State, and it wasn't in our area. But like the night before they struck the deal, that's kind of like what's going to happen in this case. Ohio State versus Michigan, that's going to be on national TV. Everybody's going to be able to get that. But Ohio State versus Arkansas State, they're going to throw that bad boy on the app because we are crazy Buckeye fans and we have to see every single Ohio State game. And we're going to look at the Peacock network and say, well, it's only $5 a month. It'll pay for itself. I got to see my guys. And then you sign up.
Well,
and then you're
where the rub
in
is
there.
That's where the rub is going to be, because I have cable, but I don't buy those apps. I mean, I have Netflix, I have Hulu, I have Amazon Prime,
but Brian,
I'm not into buying Peacock or CBS.
But
I think you're right.
If
now
you're
they're
a
going to
big
try to
Buckeye
force
fan,
me.
though, are you going to say you're just not going to watch them that week over not wanting to get that app?
Well, no, I'm going to have to pony it up.
But that's why they're doing it right there.
That's where it's like,
it stinks, I know, like it's changed. So
exactly. I mean, that's how it is with Amazon Prime and the NFL and these Thursday night games. Like, what are you gonna do? Not watch it? And I mean, it's easy to say I'm not gonna watch. Like, oh man, they got a Thursday night. They got what, the Carolina Panthers and the Saints. Whatever. Let them throw the Bengals and Browns on there. The whole state is gonna go ahead and buy Amazon Prime that weekend. So once they get you with something that you like, they got you. And you know, the cool thing about apps is you can cancel and come back at your own leisure. But the thing about the apps is they bet on you being lazy and not canceling the app. So 1 month turns into 2 months to 3 months to 4 years. Like, man, I haven't watched that app outside of football season not a one time.
Yep. Then it turns into you having to report your your debit card stolen so that you could just stop all those payments and get a new one sent to you and then start all over again.
Anybody out there want to share their Peacock password with Kenner, myself, and Brian? Hit us up.
Scott Campbell says, not all bars are set up with Peacock, Apple, etc., so they may miss some games. Folks,
they
stop
will
saying
be.
that they're going to miss games. If they don't have it, they're going to get it.
Yeah.
Like, it's that simple. Like, we act like what the products that we have now, we have the products we have now because we have access to what we need out of them. So now that things are changing, guess what? Are you just not? I mean, when you say that you don't want Peacock, like the last caller, all right, Brian said, well, he doesn't have Peacock and he doesn't want to download Peacock. Well, we just asked him, well, are you just not going to watch the game? He goes, no, I'm going to have to get Peacock. That's what's going to happen. Sports bars may not have access to some of those apps now, but they're going to get it because, hey, Buckeye fans, that's what drives business on those days. So, look, this is something that's a few years out, of course, but it's something to keep an eye on. Let me reiterate this point right here, Kev, that CBS, they currently paid the SEC annually $55 million. They currently pay them $55 million. When that deal is up, they're obviously shifting their focus to the Big Ten. CBS is expected to pay the Big Ten $350 million annually.
Divided by 16, that's like $22 million a school.
Yeah. I mean,
you know, we talk about that after the break, but you know my opinions on that.
It's business. All right, we'll step away for a few moments because there's this one take that's coming in that Kevin and I talked about before the show today. Billy Wright says, the Big Ten better hope that the playoff is no longer controlled by the ESPN or by ESPN. Better hope for expansion and multiple cable deals for playoff rights, because that's what Kev had highlighted before we hit the mics today. That's what his concern is. He doesn't think that there's going to be any kind of cheating, but the perception is going to overshadow the playoff with, well, of course there's 2 SEC teams in it. Hell, you guys do that already.
Right.
I mean, they are the best conference in college football. It's not that crazy. But anyways, it's besides the point. Let's pick up with that. 518-1410. Billy, you're right. That is going to be a talking point, and we're going to get to that on the other side. Don't go anywhere.
The Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash. Presented by Brad Mays with Home Experts Realty. Weekdays at 3 p.m. on 1410 ESPN Radio. ESPN 1410 Wing AM weather.
The mid-afternoon and early evening will be mostly cloudy with a chance of showers, a high near 80. Tonight's going to be mostly cloudy with a chance of showers and thunderstorms, a low near 65. And tomorrow's going to be partly cloudy with a chance of showers, a high near 80. I'm Pete Spivak for 1410 ESPN Radio.
Welcome to Allstate, where driving safe saves you more. And it should. With DriveWise in the Allstate app and your safe driving skills, you can save 40%. Add it to your policy for personalized driving feedback and save. Lower your rates, match your expectations with Allstate. Click, call, or visit allstate.com today.
Not available in every state. Savings based on DriveWise and other safe driving discounts. Savings vary. Subject to terms and conditions. Allstate Fire and Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates, Northbrook, Illinois.
Did you get the Clement Horizon clean last night? I don't want another barnacle incident. Where's Ivan?
Kiki's head of docking operations just jumped ship.
What do you mean he's sailing around the world?
She needs a new marina manager to help keep her head above water.
Yeah, the tide's perfect, but we are slammed.
Indeed can help her hire great people fast.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. You can schedule and conduct virtual interviews all from your
Let's face it, you all have outdoor home projects to do. Mad River Mulch and Topsoil is here to help as the area's leading provider of processed topsoil, garden mix, animal bedding, and mulch. We cater to the professional landscaper, contractor, and the DIY homeowner. That's you. Buy in bulk, mulch, rock, topsoil, and sand. No matter the size of the project, we can help, and we deliver, often the same day. We also carry firewood, bedding, and fuel pellets. Mad River Mulch and Topsoil, just off I-70 and Route 4 in Springfield. Order online at madrivermulch.com. Lee's Famous Recipe Chicken is excited to announce their new delicious spicy bourbon chicken sandwich is here. It's the best of both worlds. Their spicy bourbon dippers that you love brought into a sandwich you'll crave. It's made with their famous spicy chicken sandwich, smothered in their special bourbon barbecue sauce, dripping with flavor on a brioche bun. Enjoy it in a combo with your favorite side and a drink, priced just right at only $6.99 and only available at Lee's Famous Recipe Chicken Miami Valley locations. Lee's, famous for spicy bourbon chicken.
If you need new roofing, siding, or gutters, skylights, or patio enclosures, if you're a homeowner or business and need someone you can trust, don't take a chance. Enhance with Lance. Lance Roofing and Siding in Fairborn has been satisfying customers since 1993 and hold an A+ rating with the Better Business Bureau. Lance Roofing and Siding, 8460 Dayton Springfield Road in Fairborn. Call for a free estimate at 864-2722. That's 864-2722 or online at lanceroofing.com.
Cordell Transportation is now hiring Class A CDL drivers with a $5,000 sign-on bonus. Home daily dedicated lanes, no-touch freights, new equipment. Call Cody. Apply online at CordellTransportation.com. Cordell Transportation, driven to succeed.
Listen to this station anytime, anywhere on Odyssey. Odyssey is your new audio home for all the music, news, sports, and podcasts that matter to you. Odyssey. That's AUDACY.
Hello, it's John Kozik, founder and president of TurboTrack Realty, and I buy real estate as is, fast for cash. Give us a call today for an all-cash offer at 614-470-2000, 614-470-2000. I buy inherited properties, vacant homes, rentals, commercial properties, and apartment buildings. Give us a call today and speak with one of our friendly staff members at 614-470-2000, 614-470-2000.
Okay, dads, it's time to do the Cabbage Patch, the Running Man, or something more contemporary, the Floss. That's right. Dance like a dad with your kids. Learn more at fatherhood.gov. Sponsored by Ad Council.
There are a lot of sports myths out there that absolutely drive me nuts, but none more than the fact that the SEC has been given preferential treatment over the years because of ESPN. Look, I'm not saying that there is not human error and human bias in any kind of decision-making that goes on with the College Football Playoff Committee, but at the same time, I think that this idea that we want to discredit all of the SEC's success and just basically blame it on, well, you know what? It's because of ESPN. Yep. ESPN, you know, the SEC, ESPN, and all that, all the jokes that come with it. I completely get that. But at the same time, to sit there and say that the SEC has been treated, more than fair while everyone else has been poo-pooed on, I completely disagree. I think if you go back all the way back to 2014 and look at the college football playoffs and the 4 teams that have made it, there might be only 2 seasons that you could circle and argue who the number 4 team was and who should have been in at 4 over number. But overall, I think the committee has got it right pretty much every year. I don't have a whole lot of complaints, and I'm an Ohio State fan. In fact, there's as many examples as you can give as why you think that they punished Ohio State, and if they were the SEC, they would have been rewarded. I could find a bunch of different reasons how a lot of rules were bent to benefit Ohio State because of how much they mean to the college football playoff as well. I'm not one that believes in the SEC bias. I just don't. I think it's not a SEC bias. I think it's just a SEC perception because they're the best conference in college football. I mean, I don't know how you could deny that. I don't know how you can look at the success on the field and look at we're talking about 3 straight national champions in college football, all coming out of the SEC. Like, we're talking about LSU, talking about Alabama, talking about Georgia. I mean, it's just been one dominating performance after another. And then you had the all SEC national championship game this past year, but are you trying to argue that Alabama didn't deserve to be in the college football playoff? Are you trying to argue that Georgia didn't deserve to be in the college football playoff? Well, if you're not arguing that, then what are you arguing? What do you argue? If you're not arguing that Georgia doesn't deserve to be in the college football playoff last year, and if you're not arguing that Alabama didn't deserve to be in the college football playoff last year, how are you blaming the success of the SEC on bias when those 2 teams deserve to be in the college football playoff last year? I don't get it. I don't understand. I mean, that's not true. I get it. I understand it. I don't give it a lot of credibility. Look, Ohio State back in 2014 should not, the year that they won the national championship, the inaugural college football playoff, they shouldn't even have been in the playoff. But they were they would prefer them in over, was it TCU that year, Kev?
Yeah, TCU and Baylor had the same record.
And they were trying to prove a point to the Big 12 that you needed to get a conference championship game. It's a point that they forgot when it comes to Notre Dame, by the way, but that's besides the point. Notre Dame has gotten preferential treatment. The Buckeyes have gotten preferential treatment. I can't think of examples of how the SEC got preferential treatment. We're talking about undefeated SEC teams or one-loss SEC teams that the one loss happens to be against the SEC champion more times than not. I don't understand what you guys are trying to convince me of when it comes to this bias that I don't, maybe it exists, but I think it's a perception that exists and not a bias. You know, how many times has Oklahoma had it, or like Baylor or Texas, they've had a chance to prove that they're one of the big, and then they lose a big game late in the season. How many times has Penn State had a chance to prove that they're also another one of the big dogs, and then they lose a game that they shouldn't late in the season, or they get blown out by Ohio State? Every time.
No, Penn State's problem is they lose the game beforehand. Yeah, they always lose before they even play Ohio State. So it's like, oh man, dang.
So
let down.
But like they always, like, you can't blame the SEC bias for why Ohio State, Michigan State, and Michigan are the only three teams from the conference to even, I mean, hell, the SEC has had three different teams win the national championship for 3 straight years. The Big Ten, since 2014, they've only had 3 Big Ten teams that have ever made it. Ohio State made it in 14, won the national title. Michigan State made it in 15, got shut out. Ohio State made it in 17, got shut out, 31-0 by Clemson. Ohio State then made it 2 years later and lost to, of course, Clemson in the Fiesta Bowl. And then they made it the next year and got blown out by Alabama on the national championship. Ohio State's there all the time. Michigan made it last year, got blown out, of course. But there's 3 teams total from the Big Ten that have made the college football playoff since it started in 14, as we are heading into year 8. And yet we're talking about the SEC bias, although the conference has just won 3 straight national titles. It might be on their way to winning 4. Who knows what's going to happen?
It's not. Toughio State's winning this year.
Not with it. Not if the bias has anything to do with it.
No, we're just going to beat everybody.
But your thoughts. So one point you made earlier about the TV rights, the negotiations, there does seem to be a very weird conflict of interest kind of overlapping. Yeah. Now, excuse me for not being the most well-versed on exactly what ESPN's role is in the college football playoff. I know they're the hub for the college football playoff, but I don't believe, and again, maybe I'm, maybe I'm naive. I don't know, but I don't, the network wants ratings and the network wants the best teams in there. And I just don't believe that the network has ever skewered something to get an SEC team in over a team that deserves to be there. I've seen Notre Dame given preferential treatment, not needing to play a national or a conference championship game to get in. I've seen that. I've seen Ohio State get preferential treatment. They had the worst loss between them and TCU that year, but they tried to prove a point to TCU in the conference by making them get a conference title game and letting Ohio State in, who'd go on to win the title, of course. I've seen Ohio State get preferential treatment quite a few times. Hell, the Big Ten changed the rules of the Big Ten title game to get them into the playoff the year that in 2020. I don't know. I'm a Buckeye fan. I could just respect greatness when I see it, and the SEC is great right now. And that's really it. I just, do you believe in that SEC bias, I guess, is the question.
I think the SEC is the best conference, but I don't think it's a landslide like some people believe it is. I think that, well, people have to realize everything that you watch on TV or listen to on the radio is there for entertainment and is there to drive people to have a reaction. Meaning producers of whatever program that are on ESPN and the talent on ESPN know that. We can talk about how important that one Stephen A. Smith is, who I haven't seen on ESPN since the NBA Finals. He's coming back on Monday. They got commercials about that.
Finally, first takes back.
People like that drive ratings and drive talking points and drive people to have a reaction. So anything that Stephen A. Smith says, anything that Skip Bayless says, anything that Paul Feinbaum says, it moves the needle. It causes a reaction out of people. Don't think for 1 second those people that say certain things that Skip Bayless isn't saying, that LeBron James is the 20th best player in the NBA, isn't done on purpose. He's doing that on purpose to needle people, to drive ratings, to drive talking, to drive people to watch. And that's the same thing that I believe that is done with ESPN's talking points for their people, because they know if Paul Feinbaum jumps on there and says, man, Ohio State, they're all right. CJ Stroud, he's okay. Buckeye Nation is going to go crazy. The same way that when he says things about Nick Saban or divulges information about conversations he's had about Nick Saban or with Nick Saban, that's going to have everybody in Alabama going crazy at him. So when you have a network and you have people on there that are supposed to be the voice of college football, an unbiased voice of college football, their name and what they say carry a lot of weight. So if you only have one perspective on there, or your main perspective is this guy, they're going to hold weight, and it's going to cause people to view it in a certain way, especially if it's the way of the SEC. So like just the same way he's the SEC guy, Paul Feinbaum, you got Joel Klatt, who's always bigging up the Big Ten. So you have the yin and the yang type of situation going on. So it's more of what they're saying causing other people to get riled up. So does the committee watch ESPN and say, well, Paul Feinbaum said that Florida's better than Northwestern, so we're going to put Florida above them? No, I think they have a mind of their own. I think they cause the people, us, the viewer, to get all riled up and rowdy.
Yeah, I've been to a sports media conference with Paul Feinbaum, and he was asked a question about, you're viewed as the SEC homer, how much of that, do you believe everything that you say? And he said, first of all, he thinks it's disrespectful to any sports media person out there to say that you are here to be a microphone for the SEC. He got the job because he sees the value in the SEC, and he talks about the SEC, but he also will never say that Ohio State's bad just to prop up an SEC team.
Right.
He goes, when the SEC is bad, that means ratings will dip, which means revenue will dip, which means he probably wouldn't be employed by the SEC network, because that's just how it is. There's a reason that some of these smaller conferences like the ACC, they tried it. That hasn't been the most successful avenue. And also, who is the ACC spokesperson? Paul Feinbaum is the spokesperson for the SEC. Who's the ACC spokesperson? Because, the Big Ten technically has Joel Klatt from that perspective. But like fans, I don't think you know what you want. You guys are hypocrites, because what you guys say all the time is, you're not supposed to be biased. You're supposed to be unbiased. That's not true at all. You would just want them to have your bias, because everything that Joel Klatt says, according to Buckeye fans, is Bible. Everything Joel Klatt says, when Joel Klatt says, oh man, the Buckeyes are good and the Buckeyes are great and the Buckeyes could do nothing wrong, man, Joel Klatt, he's just a smart feller. He knows his stuff, man. But if Joel Klatt says, I just don't think Ohio State's as good as what people think they are, oh man, Joel Klatt, that guy, he doesn't know nothing. He is horrible. He is talking bad about my team. So that means he has a low IQ. That means he's dating his cousin. That means he, fill in the blank. Make fun of him, make fun of his parents, make fun of it, right? That's what we do. Well, you have no clue if Paul Feinbaum is good at his job or not. You just don't like what he's saying, so you say he's bad, right? But you love what Joel Klatt has to say because he's telling you what you want to hear. When people say you're not supposed to have any bias in your sports analysis, I'm like, that's not true. You just want the sports analyst to have your bias. It's the same thing with politics. It's the same thing with anything in life. You just want to be told what you want to be told your opinion, or you want to have your opinion validated, because then you feel good about yourself and you feel good about them. That's just what cracks me up. I don't think that some of these guys, Skip Bayless is the only one that I would point at and say, yeah, I don't think you truly believe everything that you say. My God, just a couple weeks or last week, one of the best NBA players of all time passed away, a legend in Bill Russell. And Skip Bayless used that as a moment to talk about, here's another example of why LeBron's not the best player in the NBA and blah, blah, blah.
Did he?
He's unbelievable.
That is tacky.
He's on an island all by himself, but the rest of them, they're telling you what they believe it, and they're passionate about it. But I just find all this SEC bias talk, I just don't see it. I could see if you're hearing a lot more SEC talk than Big Ten talk. I don't think that's bias. That's called business.
I think that like people kind of get it skewed, because when you look at, a host, Mike Greenberg is a host. He voices his opinion here and there, but he's more of the setup guy. He asks the question. Ryan Clark, you're the analyst. All right, Tim Tebow, you're the analyst. you guys are the hot take or give your opinion people. So these are the individuals giving their opinions about certain subjects that the host is asking. And I think the older garb of our listeners want everybody to be a Mike Greenberg and to be host and just simply report what's going on. Well, that's not where especially sports culture is, or even news culture at that. Not to be like talking about politics, scary, but like you can see that.
How about
obviously.
Trump getting his house raided? My goodness.
I mean, you have your CNNs.
See Biden couldn't get his jacket on the other day? That was hilarious.
You have your CNNs and you have your Fox News and everything like that. And like, they're not reporting the actual news. They are saying what's happening and then immediately giving their opinion. So like, that's how it is on ESPN. Like ESPN right now, they have two hosts, Greeny and Molly. Like, and then everybody else is, I'm giving my opinion. I'm giving my opinion about everything. So like when people watch ESPN, they blanket statement in ESPN that says, opposed to saying that individual. So just like if someone's tuning in to 1410, ESPN Dayton said this, that, and the third, and said the Bengals suck. That would be Justin saying the Bengals suck, not 1410
that
ESPN.
was 2020 Kinner, 2020 or 2020 and 21 Kinner, 2022 Kinner. His foot's off the gas a little bit.
Okay, well, you get my point. They will be saying the whole station. Well, it's the individual who is saying this, and the individual. And when we're talking about a Paul Feinbaum, his name carries weight, and that's how opinions get voiced and get out to the masses. And then you say, hey, you take a clip off of Instagram or Twitter and you share it with your friend. You hear what he just said about so-and-so. It's the back and forth, and that draws ratings. And that's what this business is all about, is driving ratings. And just the college football playoff in general, you and I had this conversation before. I think it's silly that the college football playoff is only on ABC and NBC, ABC and ESPN networks. The Super Bowl bounces around from network to network. Like, I would prefer that. I would prefer that the college football playoff, one year it's a part of NBC, next year is a part of the Disney networks, and then just kind of like bounce around. Because if you do it that way, you can shun all that. Like, well, we're not in bed with anybody. We are a separate entity that bounces around to all our media partners, as opposed to, we're with ESPN all the time. Like, that's the type of stuff that causes people to say, well, they're in bed with ESPN. They have all ESPN entire network dedicated to the SEC. All their guys are from the SEC. And now the college football playoff is only on ESPN. So, they're going to put in their people. But if it bounced around a little bit, then you would have something to temper that. Like, well, dude, it was just on ABC. Dude, it was just on Fox. Dude, it was just on NBC. Dude, it was just on the Peacock network. Like, bounce it around a little bit. Like,
I don't think that would fix anything, only because people are always going to talk. When I took over the station about 2022, so back in 18, when I took over, I was told, you guys talk way too much Ohio State. So what I do, I stopped talking as much Ohio State.
How dare you?
And then guess what happened? Y'all don't talk enough Ohio State. So no matter what you do, you will never keep, there will always be a vocal crowd telling you what you're doing wrong in their view. So if ESPN is no longer a part of the college football playoff, I don't think that all of a sudden the SEC bias goes away, because guess what? There's a human element to the committee. And I don't think that it doesn't matter if that committee is a committee for the playoff under CBS, under ESPN, under Peacock, under wherever. The bottom line is that that bias will always be there in the eyes of those who don't want to give credit where credit's due. Look, the SEC has been dominant. The SEC has been great. And it's not just an opinion versus an opinion. It's just common sense. Look at the NFL. Look at these guys. I mean, when you look at the LSU team that dominated, was Joe Burrow, Justin Jefferson, and Jamar Chase and that entire group, was that SEC bias, or was that just stupid talent? I think it was pretty damn good. All right. What about Alabama? All right. You had Mac Jones, all those NFL receivers, all those big freaking tree trunks of dudes on the defensive side of the ball. Was that SEC bias? Or was that just stupid good football? Stupid good football. Look at the freaking
Book in
boulders.
there.
Look at the boulders on the defensive side of the ball for Georgia last year. Was that SEC bias or was that just stupid talent? It's stupid talent. And you're going to see the stupid talent on Alabama's roster this year. You're going to see it on Georgia's roster this year. You're going to see it on Ohio State's roster as well. But I do not think that the SEC bias is going to be what trips up Ohio State against the team that they should beat this year. If they lose and they're not in the playoff, it's not because of SEC bias. It's because they lost by 30 to Purdue or they lost by 30 to Iowa. I'll never forget those years. Those were the years that Buckeye fans were screaming the loudest. Oh, man, I bet if Alabama lost by 30 to Purdue, they'd still get in. Well, that's the thing. Alabama wouldn't lose by 30 to Purdue. Oh, if Alabama lost by 29 to Iowa on the road, they'd still be. That's the thing. Alabama doesn't lose by 30 to teams at home or on the road. So it's not, you guys don't have an equal playing field to criticize from. 518-1410. We'll take your calls on the other side.
It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash.
Justin, you're awesome, baby.
Right here on 1410 ESPN Radio.
Hi, I'm Emmitt Smith, Pro Football Hall of Famer and 3-time champion. Trust me, I know about joint pain.
Pro Football's all-time leading rusher, Emmitt Smith, talks about chronic joint pain and exciting new regenerative treatments from QC Kinetics.
I know what it's like to fight through pain, but now, you and I, we have help. QC Kinetics.
QC Kinetics is the nation's leader in advanced, all-natural regenerative medicine that can give you lasting relief with no drugs, no downtime, and no surgery. Do you suffer with constant pain from arthritis or injury? Pain in your knees, hips, shoulders, or lower back? Don't assume steroids, pain meds, and surgery are your only options. Regenerative, restorative, natural solutions are now available.
Don't let your joint pain keep you from doing the things you love.
Call QC Kinetics now for a free consultation and learn how regenerative medicine can repair and restore damaged joint tissue.
Make the call to QC Kinetics. Tell them Emmitt Smith sent you.
Call QC Kinetics, 937-936-0325. That's 937-936-0325. 937-936-0325.
Many Vietnam War veterans were unknowingly exposed to dangerous chemicals impacting their health and quality of life. There are now expanded benefits for veterans exposed to Agent Orange. Veterans with Parkinsonism, bladder cancer, or hypothyroidism who previously applied for VA disability compensation but were denied should reapply and might be eligible for retroactive compensation. Exposed veterans who have not yet applied should consider filing a new claim. For assistance, call Montgomery County Veterans Service Commission at 937-225-4801.
Hi, this is Eddie Sorrell, Service Manager at Germain Honda of Beaver Creek, recipient of Honda's President's Award. When your vehicle needs service, we make it convenient. Open 6 days a week, including all day Saturday. We also welcome same-day appointments and walk-ins as well. Our technicians are factory trained, and we offer a new state-of-the-art facility, clean waiting rooms, loaner cars, and free alignment checks.
Networks. The $45 Silver Unlimited plan from Straight Talk. Straight Talk Wireless. No contract, no compromise.
A month equals 30 days. See terms and conditions at straighttalk.com. 5G capable device required. Actual availability, coverage, and speed may vary.
O'Reilly. Stay cool this summer with AC Pro and O'Reilly Auto Parts. Right now, get a $15 O'Reilly Auto Parts gift card after mail-in rebate with the purchase of select AC Pro ready-to-use refrigerant products that include a hose and gauge. Beat the heat before you hit the road with AC Pro at your local O'Reilly Auto Parts store.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
The DEA says Dayton is one of the nation's hardest hit places when it comes to overdoses and drug-related violent crime. News Center 7 is talking with agents to give you an inside look at the new operation designed to save lives. Today on News Center 7, beginning at 5.
Carrie Underwood, Thomas Rhett, Maren Morris on the next Entertainment Tonight. We're backstage for the iHeart Country Festival.
Every single act is at the top of their game.
Next ET, tonight at 7:30 on Channel 7.
Drought, war, and rising food prices have devastated families in poverty. $50 provides a food kit to feed a family for a month. Just text the word radio to 97646.
Justin Kinner, Kev Nash back with you here on Dayton's ESPN radio station, 1410 Wing AM. 518-1410, that's the number to call and jump in on the conversation. So look, this whole hour has basically been dedicated towards, not conference realignment, but basically TV realignment, channel realignment, if you will. We're so used to watching Ohio State and Big Ten football across multiple platforms, of course, Fox being the main one now, and then, of course, on ESPN. But you will not watch Big Ten football on ESPN moving forward as this deal is inching closer and closer to getting done. A big-time $350 million a year, $1 billion contract overall TV deal for the Big Ten, dispersed between 3 networks, NBC, obviously, CBS and all that. And we're talking a lot of apps involved, and I find this all fascinating. And I opened up the hour basically saying, do you even care where you watch the game? I just don't. I just need to know that I have access to it. If I don't have access to it, how do I get access to it? Because the demand for our team, the Buckeyes, is so high and so strong that I don't think it's going to stop anyone from watching the Buckeyes. I haven't come across one person yet that has said, now I can't watch Ohio State. The caller from earlier in the show, he said, well, I don't have the Peacock app. I don't have these apps to be able to watch this game. And I said, so are you going to get it? And he said, well, yeah, I'm going to have to. There you go. That's the solution. Solutions, right. Not problems. A problem is you don't have access to it. That's a problem. That's why baseball has a problem. That's why a lot of pro sports have problems, because of the blackout rules and all that stuff. With this isn't a problem. You just need to know how to access it. And of course, there'll always be people that maybe don't have the financial means to do it. And I get that. But overall, this would not have been done if they didn't view that, there's enough people we could touch with this. People that will download it no matter what, and other people who don't have any of our products, but will download it because of that. I find it fascinating.
Absolutely. So I'm trying to see how much Peacock app is. So give me a second. But
Peacock's like $9.99.
Is it?
It might be even $5. I think it's $9.99. I got it for the WWE Network and all that fun stuff to watch my WrestleMania, to watch Pat McAfee kick some ass and all that fun stuff. But yeah. But see, by the way, that's the thing. That's another example right there of something that I know comes out of my account every month. I have no clue how much it comes out. It could be like
$4.99 a month.
$4.99 a month. There you go. Not free $99, but so you mean to tell me $5 is going to be why you're going to sit here and say, now I can't watch my Buckeyes?
Yeah, you get Peacock Premium. Unlock everything Peacock has to offer. Every movie, episode, every season, all live sporting events, $4.99 a month.
Yeah, plus CBS, NBC, these are local channels. And if anything, this is more accessible, right?
My question for you and everybody else is, what is too much? What is too much? Because what he's talking about, what Brian was talking about, is like, hold on, you mean I'm gonna have to get Peacock Network to stream a couple of my Ohio State games, and then I have to get Amazon Prime to get the Thursday night NFL games. And then obviously I already have Netflix because I got to watch Stranger Things or whatever you're watching on there. Where's the line? Do you have a line where like, all right, man, I just can't have everything? He said he had Hulu and everything like that. So is there a line where you draw like, look, man, I'm out. I'm only going to have Netflix and one other thing. I can't have every single streaming network and cable as well. Is there a line where you're going to cut it off?
I don't think we've got to the point to where I'm like, oh my God, we got to do this, and this. It's right. I know who that we're good on that, by the way. I don't think we're at a point for me. I'm not saying that's the case for everyone, but for me, no, just tell me what channel it's on, what app I need to download, what I need to do. That's great. And I might, but that's how much I love college football. I'll do that. And if you're a person that's like, nope, I'm not doing all that, then you're not who they were targeting to begin with. I just think it comes down to, do you want it or not? And that's really what it comes down to when it's all said and done. But you're going to have a good portion of your audience that isn't the most tech savvy, and I completely get that as well. But yeah, we're talking about local channels. We're talking about CBS. We're talking about Fox.
So think about it like this, Brian, and anybody else out there that is mad that some of these games are going to be on the Peacock network. Peacock is $5 a month. College football runs from August till December. It's 5 months. It's $25. And that's the cool thing about these apps. You can turn them off. Unlike cable or some cable companies, you sign a contract and you're locked in there for 2-3 years. You can come and go with the apps.
518-1410. Let's go to Adam. Adam, how are you, sir?
Hey, guys. How you doing? Thanks for taking my call. No, just touching on your point there with the streaming services. I mean, I totally agree. You look at ESPN Plus, they have Disney Plus and Hulu. They have that package deal that you can buy. I think it's like $12.99 or $11.99 a month. And you have NBC and then CBS is, I think, with Paramount Plus, where they're struggling to get views. So this contract with the Big Ten to show games on there, it's strictly to get eyes on their network. Like, so I agree with the points you guys have made since I've been listening to you. They want eyeballs on their streaming services. I believe that's all they're trying to do. So.
Yeah, because the shows that are on these networks aren't moving the needle. I have Paramount Plus, and the only reason I have Paramount Plus is because I got it free with my phone. They have like a cool show on there called
Yellowstone,
Mayor of Kingstown. Those shows are very good, but like they're not moving the needle. But you throw Ohio State football on there, everybody's gonna download it because I gotta watch the game. I gotta see CJ Stroud throw 1 million touchdowns.
Yeah, and I guess if you want to look at it from ESPN and Disney's perspective, like they had they're going to have eyeballs with the SEC and the ACC. So they get some, they lose some, I guess. You know what I mean? But we're talking about Mickey Mouse here. Like that dude knows how to make money. But yeah, Kev, to answer your question, like I have my top 4. So like I had Netflix, I got Disney Plus, I have DirecTV Stream. So there's my cable, and then my 4th one's going to be Peacock here. So there's to answer your question there, my top 4. I guess that's where I draw my line there. So it is. So that's where I draw my line. There's my top 4. So I guess me personally, I'll miss out if they're not on the local CBS, like you said.
Hit me up offline and let me get that login.
DirecTV Stream might have to go away now. You know what I mean? Might have to flip a coin here. Is it? Is it worth it? Like,
right?
See what happens. Like you said, and then with these cell phone networks, what they're playing, they're gonna give you HBO Max and Paramount Plus for free. So maybe I'm switching cell phone networks. We'll talk. I'll call you back though. We'll talk offline. Switch networks. Thanks, guys. Have a good day.
Adam, thank you, man. 518-1410.
I'm not trying to pay. I'm not gonna lie here.
Oh yeah, like our friends group, like everyone's using other people. Like, well, I have Hulu, you don't have Hulu. Here's my Hulu password. Just give me your YouTube TV password. We have YouTube TV. Best decision I ever made in my life, by the way.
Love it.
You could watch it anywhere. When I'm at work working, I'm watching YouTube TV. No. Well, I mean, sometimes, but
I knew somebody that used to watch Netflix at work.
And now they're watching Netflix at home, probably. What? Sorry. 518-1410. Is this DoorDash Ray? DoorDash Ray, how are you, sir?
Hey, what's going on, guys? Hey, real quick, I got just a couple minutes here, and it's not like I'm very important or anything. I love you guys, and Justin, I'm so happy you've always given everybody a platform to speak. I love your show, Kev. I love you, dude. But I got something serious to throw out there real quick because last week a good friend of mine got killed in Florida. His name was Pastor Joel Burton. I don't know if you guys probably saw it on the news and all that stuff.
Sorry to hear that.
One of the best human beings. Yeah, one of the best human beings I've ever known in my life. Started a ministry in Dayton called Simple Street Ministries. He was downtown ministering, giving food, water to people right by the Dayton bus station out there on 4th and Jefferson, I believe. Just had a heart for the Lord, heart for Jesus, man. Really went out there and made it a life mission and to do these types of things for people. And he pretty much went to the people that everybody just kind of cast to the side. So his service is Thursday at Redemption Church on Dixie Drive. I'm just coming out of Vandalia, going towards Tip City. So the only reason I'm mentioning this, there's a GoFundMe for his family, his wife. He did not have insurance. And he had a friend named Zeb Dill who was with him. They both got hit. Zeb survived, but Joel did not. So, dude, the only thing I'm doing is any other time I would jump on every topic we talk about. You know, I'm a Raider fan and sports. I live and breathe, you know, sports and silver and black and the Reds and Buckeyes. But I just wanted you guys to know, man, I love you guys. Life is short. All your listeners out there, I'm sure there's no doubt that a lot of them know who Joel was and may have come across his path at some point or another. I'm not trying to bring the show down at all. I really am not. But I knew, you know what, I had to get in there and at least get this out there. The service is Thursday. It's going to be humongous. Anybody can attend. That'd be great. Anybody that can support the family through the GoFundMe for the Burton family and the Dill, D-I-L-L family for this tragedy, it would be awesome. But, yeah, I didn't want to commandeer and just steer off into some doom and gloom aspect of life, but it really is, dude. I'm so thankful for you, Justin, and what you do, and you give us a platform. Like I said, we go to work and then we come home, we listen to you, and you give us an outlet to talk and get some things off our chest, sports-wise, and let our voices be heard out there when it comes to that. And Kev, dude, you know what, you know, you have so much knowledge, and I think you should get a lot more recognition than you do. Not that you don't, but I just wanted you guys to know that was what's going on this week, and for your listeners to hopefully either, you know, chime in. And if any of you guys out there do remember Joel, you know exactly what I'm talking about. So listen, I'm not going to take any more time. I love you guys so much, but I just wanted to get that out there and not to bring the show down, but I just kind of wanted to let everybody know that's
you're good, man.
So.
We'll think about you. Sorry about your loss. Appreciate you calling in, and you know, we'll talk later, man. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Have a good day, guys.
Will Limmer jumped in too. He said Joel was a great person. So DoorDash Ray was right. A lot of people know who this individual is again. So Ray, thank you for calling in with that. And again, sorry for your loss and thinking about you during this time, of course. Weird transition out of this portion of the show, of course. But we head into hour 2. And we'll continue taking your calls. 518-1410. That's the number to call and jump in on the conversation. We're going to continue talking college football on the other side of this. Justin Williams, he covers the Cincinnati Bearcats. For The Athletic. And we're going to talk about the Bearcats coming up. I know we spent so much time talking about the Buckeyes and the SEC and the Big Ten, but Cincinnati made a splash last year, making the college football playoff, and they'll make another splash as they're about to embark on the Power 5 journey. They're going to be part of the Big 12, not this upcoming season, but next year. What does that mean for this upcoming season? Not that it's a throwaway season, Kev, but what do you consider this upcoming season for the Bearcats? We'll talk about that with Justin Williams, covers the Bearcats for The Athletic. He joins us in 4 minutes.
The Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash. Presented by Brad Mays with Home Experts Realty. Weekdays at 3 p.m. on 1410 ESPN Radio.
Do you know what people see when they Google you? Search engines don't always get it right. And when they're wrong, it's your reputation on the line. So what do you do when you don't agree with your search results? Call Reputation Defender at 800-401-6681. Reputation Defender by Norton is one of the most trusted names in online reputation repair. We have over a decade of experience in fixing people's search results, and we can help you too. Using cutting-edge approaches, Reputation Defender pushes unflattering information down to lower pages of your search results, where few people ever look. We also promote the good stuff so that it rises to the top, letting you put your best foot forward. Your good name is too valuable to leave to the whims of a Google algorithm. You owe it to yourself to take control with Reputation Defender. Visit www.reputationdefender.com or call 800-401-6681 for free advice on your situation. 800-401-6681.
How do you make the most of your land? If you ask the Wrens, who run with us on a John Deere mower, they tell you,
I mow first, then I do all the trimming.
But the Hubbards, who work behind the wheel of a John Deere compact tractor, would say,
If it's something you want, just go after it and try it.
Then there's the Mosers, who may mention from the seat of their John Deere Gator UTV,
You can't be all work and not play.
there are millions of ways to make the most of your land. Learn how to make the most of yours at Deere.com. Nothing runs like a Deere.
Dealing with an outdated printer that just can't keep up with you? Visit Staples and upgrade to a new HP Envy Inspire with HP Plus, HP's best home printer. And it comes with 6 months of free ink. It prints everything you need, from homework and work documents to incredible photos and more with amazing quality. Right now, save $70 on the HP Envy Inspire 7955E, available at Staples. Offer valid through August 27th. See staples.com/HP Plus for details.
Over the last year and a half, we all learned some hard lessons. One of the most important is that you can't put off the inevitable. Hi, this is Mark Davis at Dayton Memorial Park Cemetery and Mausoleums. No matter how hard it is to think about, we all need a final resting place. When pre-planning with your funeral home, please remember that cemetery arrangements must also be made. Call us today at 937-890-1831 or visit our website at DaytonMemorialPark.com. And remember, Dayton Memorial Park is a beautiful place to celebrate life.
Hi, I'm Sales Manager Jason High at Germain Honda Beaver Creek, proud recipient of the prestigious President's Award. We are your local Honda dealer, and we invite you to see our newly renovated state-of-the-art facility. You'll be amazed at our selection, and remember, all new Hondas come with a lifetime powertrain warranty. Visit us at Route 35, just east of 675, conveniently located near Wright-Patterson Air Force Base. Germain Honda Beaver Creek, the right car, the right price, the right way. I'll see you soon.
Folks, do you want to feed your hay burner something other than hay? Come out to Homestead Feed and Supply. We've got Tribute, Hubbard, Buckley Brothers, and Purina Horse Feeds. Whether you need a low-starch feed for a Cushing's horse or high-performance feed for that show animal, we've got it. 1833 North Dayton Lakeview Road, New Carlisle. Tell them the Colonel sent you.
Hey, here to tell you about my friends at Cordell Transportation. They're now hiring Class A CDL drivers and offering a $5,000 sign-on bonus. That's right, a $5,000 sign-on bonus. Home daily, dedicated lanes, and no-touch freight. Brand new equipment as well. Medical, dental, vision, and company-paid life insurance. Apply online at CordellTransportation.com. Cordell Transportation, driven to succeed.
There's never any FOMO with the iHeartRadio app. You won't ever have to miss out on your favorite shows and contests with this radio station again. Radio 24/7, 365. We're here when you want us. Stay connected and listen anywhere when you download the free iHeartRadio app.
Make your next hire fast with Indeed. Their end-to-end hiring solution makes it easy to attract, interview, and hire candidates all in one place. Visit Indeed.com/credit.
ESPN 1410 Wing AM weather.
The mid-afternoon and early evening will be mostly cloudy with a chance of showers, a high near 80. Tonight's going to be mostly cloudy with a chance of showers and thunderstorms, a low near 65. And tomorrow's going to be partly cloudy with a chance of showers, a high near 80. I am Pete Spivak for 1410 ESPN Radio.
Weather is brought to you by Cullet Propane. 98% of their customers recommend Cullet. If you wouldn't recommend your current supplier, check them out at culletpropane.com.
This is a Reese's Peanut Butter Cup sound experiment. We're looking to find the perfect way to hear Reese's so you'll buy more of them. Here we go. Reese's, 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 Reese's,
Reese's. Hey, get out of here, you little stinker. Reese's.
Reese's.
Reese's. Peanut Butter Cups. That breathy one sounded very creepy, am I right?
My friend and I are taking a trip to Mexico this year, but neither of us speak Spanish. So we downloaded Babbel and started learning Spanish fast.
Want to get conversational in another language in as little as 3 weeks? Babbel's quick 10-minute lessons were designed by language experts to be the most efficient and effective way to learn a new language.
¿Cómo te llamas?
¿Cómo te llamas?
Babbel, language for life. celebrating 10 million subscriptions sold. Now try Babbel for free at Babbel.com. That's BABBEL.com.
All right, welcome back. It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash, and we're going to continue talking some college football here this afternoon. Let's transition from the Buckeyes over to the Bearcats. And, of course, the Bearcats, they found themselves in the college football playoffs a year ago while Ohio State was having to gear up for the Rose Bowl against Utah, of course. Well, let's talk about the Bearcats, how they plan on hopefully reloading and not rebuilding. And joining us now with the Athletic, Justin Williams, who covers the Bearcats. Justin, welcome. How are you today?
I'm doing great. I appreciate you guys having me on.
Absolutely. Look, this has actually been such a unique time for the Bearcats program. I mean, there's so much to be excited about. Obviously, have one of the top coaches in college football with Luke Fickell, who continues to stick around. You guys get the news that the Bearcats are now going to be part of the Big 12 and are now Power 5 program, less than a season removed from, of course, making the first college football playoff, a historic, feature for them, of course. There's so many highs happening for this program right now that it's like the next part is, okay, can they sustain it? What's the just start off right off the bat with as far as expectations for the Bearcats in 2022 with so many expectations and so many highs for the program? What can we expect from them coming up this season?
Yeah, I mean, you kind of mentioned it, which is for them, they want to sustain it. You know, they feel like they've established a standard. Obviously, last season getting to the college football playoff, but they've won back-to-back conference championships. They went to a New Year's Six Bowl 2 years ago, the Peach Bowl, and played Georgia there. And that's kind of been part of this progression under Luke Fickell. They feel like they've gotten to this point. They've established this new standard at Cincinnati. And you ask anyone there, and they know what they lost. They know the heights they reached last season. But they're all about, we need to maintain that standard. And there's some, there's degrees within that, right? Like, I don't think anyone at Cincinnati expects that they're necessarily going to get back to the college football playoff again this season. The non-conference schedule doesn't necessarily set up the same way, but that idea of they want to now be a perennial top 25, top 20, top 15 program. And the way you do that, as Luke Fickell has said, is, you can't just have one really good year or one really good stretch and then you lose some guys and you have to build back up. They want to try and reload, not rebuild, which means continuing to be that top 25 program, even if you lose 9 guys at the NFL draft like they did last year.
You talk about losing 9 guys to the NFL draft. Obviously, the big name is Sauce Gardner and Kobe Bryant in that secondary. Who are the guys that are going to replace them?
Yeah, well, they're still trying to figure that out. That's part of what they're doing here at fall camp. It's kind of funny. We've asked a lot about it, and the team obviously understands this. No matter how good that secondary is this year, it's not going to be as good as last season. They had the best cornerback duo in the country, the best cornerback duo in program history, highest drafted player they've ever had in Sauce Gardner. And then the other guy, Kobe Bryant, wins the Thorpe Award. So they do have one starter coming back, Arquan Bush. He's pretty much the only kind of known commodity there. Like, he's going to start, he's going to play. But outside of that, they got a bunch of young guys or, maybe guys who have been around for 2 or 3 years, but are now just finally getting their chance to get on the field. And there's some talent. They have a 4-star freshman. They have a 4-star third-year player. They have some guys who they believe can be really good players for them. They just haven't done it on the field in a game yet. And so they're trying to figure out who's going to be the starter, who's going to fit where. But I think what the answer is going to be is it's not going to be last year where Sauce and Kobe and even Arquan were on the field for pretty much every snap. They're probably going to be playing 5 or 6 guys a game. And it's just kind of trying to figure out where those 5 or 6 guys fit best on the field and maybe which ones they can trust in the most high pressure situations.
Not only losing players to the NFL draft, they lost coaches to the Ohio State Buckeyes. Who's replacing the coaches?
Yeah, so they lost Perry Eliano to Ohio State. They lost Brian Mason to Notre Dame, Mike Denbrock to LSU. Like, look, when you are a group of 5 team like Cincinnati and you go to the playoffs, other teams are going to come calling. Now, the good thing for the Bearcats is they still have the main guy. They have Luke Fickell,
right?
And he's the most important, and they were able to hold on to him. But they actually, kind of a interesting situation, Perry Eliano went to be he was the cornerback coach at Cincinnati. He's now the safeties coach at Ohio State. Cincinnati brings in Kerry Combs, who was the cornerbacks coach and defensive coordinator at Ohio State last season. Kerry Combs he's a known name in Cincinnati. He coached Coleraine High School for a long time, led them to a state championship. He actually coached at Cincinnati before moving on to Ohio State in the NFL. So he's back, and it kind of feels like it's old times for some people, but it certainly doesn't feel like they missed a beat either. He understands what it takes to recruit in Cincinnati, but he also understands what it takes to recruit at a place like Ohio State and develop NFL caliber players. So, it's obviously a little bit of a weird situation with him coming from Ohio State to Cincinnati, but in terms of the fit, it feels like it's a good place for Kerry Combs, and he's kind of made it a smooth transition.
This is more like a wide scoping question, but with this year kind of being I don't want to say a limbo year, but the fan base is like, all right, when do we get to the Big 12? So how does Coach Fickell deal with, hey, we still have to play this year. We have goals for this season as opposed to thinking about next season already.
Yeah, I mean, one way to look at it is that, they still have some veteran, senior players, graduate transfers, fifth-year guys. Those guys don't care about the Big 12 because they're not going to be there next year. Right. So if that's kind of your leadership, they can help set the tone, which is, I know the fans are excited, the university is excited about the Big 12. This is what we have to do. We want to go to the NFL. It'll be just like those guys last year that kind of left a legacy. So they're not thinking about it. But you're right. It's kind of the main topic. It's actually a little interesting. I think it worked out perfectly for Cincinnati. As much as they are, hey, we want to be that top program. We want to, reload, all that kind of stuff. It does help that after you lose all those guys in the NFL, lose those marquee players, you kind of get a little bit of a buffer year here where you're playing in the American as opposed to playing in the Big 12. I think they're a good team. Cincinnati, I think they can be a top 25 team this year. But let's be honest, that's a little bit easier to do playing in the American versus playing in the Big 12. So I think, as much as they certainly aren't taking a step back, they're maybe getting a little help in that area, that one last season to kind of build back up for the Big 12.
Justin Williams with The Athletic covers the Cincinnati Bearcats, hanging out with us here this afternoon. It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash. Justin, Kev mentioned, kind of a season in limbo. I think all of college football is in limbo right now with all the changes going on, all the media rights deals, the negotiations, the teams jumping from one coast to another, not even a conference to conference. It's one coast to another. It's unbelievable. Your overall impressions of the Big 12, where the Bearcats are heading. I know, the Bearcats in the American Conference, they're happy to just move up to, those bigger conferences, Power 5. I want to throw that out now just because it's all going to be, that's up in limbo too, as far as how many conferences moving forward. But the Bearcats joining the Big 12, and since then you have USC and you have UCLA going to the Big 10, and there's all these talks, Notre Dame to the Big 10. Who else can the SEC take? How healthy is the Big 12 in your opinion, where the Bearcats are heading, and what do you think the future of the Big 12 is? Is the ground sturdy for where the Bearcats are landing?
Yeah, I mean, it's all a matter of perspective, because you're right. So when Cincinnati officially got accepted into the Big 12, I think it was September 1st of last year, if I'm not mistaken, they certainly probably felt a lot better or more secure in that then than maybe the Big 12 feels now. But you also, if you're looking at it from Cincinnati's perspective, no matter what the Big 12 looks like, no matter what the money looks like, how the conferences shape up, Cincinnati's in a better position in the Big 12 than they were in the American. And so, from their perspective, I know some of these Big 12 teams are maybe worried about, are they going to take a haircut on the next media rights deal? Cincinnati's going to be making a lot more than they were before, no matter how it shakes out. So it's kind of a matter of perspective, but you're right. I think at this, last fall, Cincinnati is thinking, all right, how do we get into one of the Power 5 conferences? Now the question is, what does the Power 5 even look like anymore? And so I think from Cincinnati's perspective, they're kind of like, we're going to control what we can control. And fortunately for them, they feel much better about the Big 12, no matter what it looks like, compared to where they were before.
We talk about name, image, and likeness for how it impacts programs like Ohio State, Alabama, and others. With Cincinnati technically still in the American, obviously, moving up to the Big 12 next season. What's the NIL scene like? From the way you cover this team, how has NIL impacted Cincinnati at this point? There's a lot of things impacting them as far as just the allure of the program, going to a bigger conference, coming off of a season where they're in the college football playoff. Luke Fickell, one of the top, young coaches out there. How much of an impact has name, image, and likeness had on the Bearcats, and how much of a bigger impact can it have moving forward? You talk about how, the revenue stream coming in from the TV rights deal whenever that's finalized for the Big 12. How much of an impact is that going to help the Bearcats as far as being able to close that gap of that transition period, trying to fit into the Big 12 when they get there?
Yeah, NIL definitely made an impact. I think it might sound, I don't know, counterintuitive, but I think being in a big city with pro teams like Cincinnati, that actually helps the Bearcats because you might say, well, there's more competition for local advertisements or something like that. But there's also just a lot more local businesses. And, Cincinnati, it's one of the biggest, the university is one of the biggest entities and employers in the city. So, there's things like Kroger, which is based out of Cincinnati, that you see guys doing NIL deals with, or the offensive line did this big thing with Skyline Chili, last season, where they were doing commercials for it and things like that. So there's been some cool local opportunities that they've been able to take advantage of. I think the biggest thing that the coaching staff has been able to sell is guys like Desmond Ritter and Sauce Gardner. They made a bunch of money in NIL last year. They had a bunch of opportunities. Now it's because they built themselves into really good players. So Luke Fickell's a little old school. I don't know how he feels about, what are we going to get this incoming freshman 5-star to come to our school? What I think he likes is he can point to, hey, if you come to Cincinnati, you develop, not only can you be a top 5 draft pick like Sauce Gardner, you can also get a bunch of NIL opportunities like he got last season. And I think that's something that they're really kind of pushing to guys, whether they're recruiting them or whether it's, guys on their own team already.
This upcoming season, you jump right into the SEC, taking on Arkansas, KJ Jefferson, their star quarterback and everything like that. What can we expect from the opening game on September 3rd?
Yeah, they're right into it. Like you said, losing all those guys in the NFL draft, I'm sure they might prefer to have a little bit of a tune-up game and get one of those FCS opponents in week 1. But I also think, Cincinnati, they view it as an opportunity to show kind of that outside casual fan who looks at it and says, yeah, they had a great year last year, but all the guys they lost, well, this is Cincinnati's chance to go on the road against a top 25 SEC opponent and show that they still have some staying power, that they're still going to be kind of a force to be reckoned with in college football. That's certainly not going to be an easy task. There's going to be some guys who are kind of stepping onto a big stage for the first time. But I think in some regard that they kind of like that sense of, all right, we have a chance right off the bat immediately in a new season to come and prove ourselves.
All right, Justin Williams with The Athletic covers the Cincinnati Bearcats. Awesome enough to give us some time today. Give Justin a follow on Twitter at Williams_Justin. Follow him there, Bearcat fans. I know that Bearcat fan base has been growing and growing, and it's going to continue to grow, especially after all the success on the field and the growth of the program off the field as well. Justin, thanks so much, man. Appreciate you.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate you having me.
My heart was racing just making spaghetti. I could have waited to tell my doctor, but I didn't wait.
I was short of breath just reading a book. I could have delayed telling my doctor, but I didn't wait.
They told their doctors and found out they have atrial fibrillation, a condition which makes it about 5 times more likely to have a stroke. If you have one or more of these symptoms, irregular heartbeat, heart racing, chest pain, shortness of breath, fatigue, or lightheadedness, this is no time to wait. Contact your doctor.
Brought to you by Bristol-Myers Squibb and Pfizer.
Staples has everything for school at great prices. So this year you won't go back to school. You'll be ready to move forward and build that papier-mâché volcano.
I am not cleaning this up.
Ooh, yeah, I meant the kids. Staples will help them move forward. Right now, Crayola 10-count markers and 12-count colored pencils are just 99 cents each, and Staples 1-subject notebooks are only 35 cents. Everything on your list at amazing prices. Staples, we're not going back. We're going forward to school. Ends 8/27 in store only, limit 30.
I want to take more chances with the embroidering.
Henley's vision for a new clothing line is coming into focus.
Dramatic.
They'll need an on-staff photographer to put their collection in the spotlight.
Why is no one taking shots of these?
Indeed can help them hire great people fast.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. You can schedule and conduct virtual interviews all from your employer dashboard. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
Ray Magliozzi here for eBay Motors. You're driving along and some nimrod cuts you off. You hit the horn. Jeez, it sounds like a goose in distress. Time to head over to eBay Motors. They have horns for every make and model, not to mention horn pads, steering wheels, wiring, and more. 122 million parts. You can even go for an upgrade. Looks like Mr. Cutoff Man needs a new seat cover. Try eBay Motors, pal. Get the right parts at the right prices. eBay Motors. Let's ride.
Listen to this station anytime, anywhere on Odyssey. Odyssey is your new audio home for all the music, news, sports, and podcasts that matter to you. Odyssey. That's AUDACY.
If you're looking to obtain a quality education at a low price, look no further than Clark State. With over 160 degrees and certificates available, Clark State has a path for you to reach your goals. Our tuition rates are one of the lowest in Ohio, so getting that degree is easier than ever without breaking the bank. For more information about Clark State, visit us at www.clarkstate.edu.
5X480, Dayton B100 V-Belt, one of the many parts Grainger carries. It's also the item that helped Rob carry the day. The job was on hold, deadline fast approaching, but a quick search on Grainger.com and Rob found his part. And with same-day pickup at his local branch, he and his crew got the job done, safely and on time. Get supplies and solutions for every industry with real-time product availability.
I just
Call,
one.
click
That's
Grainger.com or just stop by.
I think that's all
Grainger,
you know what I'm
for
saying?
the ones who get it done.
Here at the Almond Joy Factory, where tropical vibes abound, we use soft, fresh-tasting coconut.
The crunchiest almonds and delicious chocolate candy.
Ah, but do you know what our most important ingredient is? Sometimes you feel like a nut.
Sometimes you don't.
Almond Joy's got nuts and something even way better than that. Yes, Almond Joy is made with almonds and joy.
Liberty Mutual customizes your car and home insurance so you only pay for what you need.
Liberty, 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 liberty.
On Twitter, make sure to give us a follow. Search 1410 Kinner for Justin Kinner on Twitter. That's 1410 KINNER. And ESPN Dayton for the station Twitter handle.
Justin Kinner, Kev Nash, back with you here on Dayton's ESPN radio station, 1410 Wing AM. Did you watch Better Call Saul?
I did. Great episode.
It's doing its thing.
Season finale next week.
It was pretty cool. I can't give spoiler. How long do you have to wait before you're allowed to talk about a show?
What's today? Today's 2. Oh, so it's
no, today's the 9th. Sorry, the 9th.
So we got so for me, I rarely watched it live. I would normally watch it like Wednesday evening.
Oh, I hate it. I hate watching it live. Hate it. But I have no choice.
So I watched it this morning at the gym on the treadmill and watched it because I knew that you were going to watch it because I knew you had your big party last night, Kenner.
When the party was me and one of my best friends, we just sat there.
Big party.
We brought the TV outside.
Big party, a
had
little
a fire
pit.
going. Had a couple.
You still got your eyebrows.
Still
got your eyebrows and your mustache. You didn't burn yourself off this time.
I had a couple Captain Cokes.
So I knew you were going to watch it. So I knew you were going to be dying to talk about it. So I made sure I watched it. Since next week is going to be the series finale, I'm going to watch it live so I can be prepared. So I don't get anything spoiled for me on that social media.
Well, like I said, I'm usually one of those that every great show, I'm usually late to the party. So Breaking Bad, I was late to that party, but I don't care. I've never been more excited to be late to a party because I got to binge watch it. Mm-hmm. And I've told you before, and well, my boss don't work here anymore, so whatever. I don't really care. I called off 2 days. I called off 2 days into work. And I'm not making this up. This is not an exaggeration. I called off 2 days of work early in my radio career. Real professional. Because I started Breaking Bad, and it was something that Nora and I were like, we'll watch a couple episodes tonight. You know, that's what we'll do together because we have totally different interests in TV shows. So that's the one that we kind of came together on. And so, okay, we'll watch that together. I looked at her. She goes, I'm ready for bed. And I'm like, not me. Did you see how that ended? We have to know how that ended. So she got mad at me. I'm like, this is a fight that I'm willing to lose. I'm sacrificing you not talking to me for a few days because that's fine. I'm going to be watching the show anyways. I went and watched the entire Breaking Bad series in about 2 days.
You got problems, yo.
No, I'm glad I have that problem. There's no better feeling.
2 a day.
No better. I mean, maybe
2 a
there's
day.
some better feeling. But I'm just saying,
I'm a 2 a day person. Like if it's a series
like
out,
seasons.
Yeah, no, 2 episodes a day. Like when Stranger Things came out, I watched 2 episodes on Friday, 2 on Saturday, 2 on Sunday. Boom.
So now I started Better Call Saul, and I binge watched the bleep out of that.
Yeah.
And then I caught up with it in live time, and I hate it. I feel like I don't get the same But it doesn't matter because the show is freaking brilliant. And last night's show was brilliant. And the finale, I cannot wait. Carol Burnett's in this last couple of episode stretch, which she's fantastic. So, folks, check it out. Better Call Saul. Better Call Saul or Gene or Jimmy.
Whatever you want to call him. I almost let some slip.
Good for Kim Wexler. I thought I was going to hate her like I hated Skylar.
Oh, goodness, Skylar. I mean, that just speaks to how great the show is because in all reality, Skylar was right.
Well, it's like his brother, Jimmy's brother, not Gus, Jesus. What was the brother's name? Why am I drawing a blank on the brother's name? He died like 2 seasons ago, but it don't matter.
It doesn't matter.
Chuck.
Yeah, Chuck, yes.
He was right. He was in the right the whole time.
Yes.
He was in the right the entire time, but I hated him. But he was right. Skylar was right.
Yep.
But I hated her. I'm like, come on, stop being. I mean, stop
Live a little.
Just let your husband cook some meth, would you? Always nagging. Oh my gosh, wife always telling you what to help with laundry, put dishes away. Oh, what? Stop cooking meth. Oh God, I mean, so annoying. Anyways, 518-1410. Stick to sports. Let's, shall we? You know, I figured I was in a situation where I haven't talked enough Bengals lately. I've been doing my best to not take shots at the Bengals, but they're making it very hard. Making it very hard. The one thing I've learned in sports is if you're going to be cocky, you better back it up with winning. And the Bengals last year, they did a lot of winning. And the Bengals are pretty cocky. The Bengals will be an unlikable team here in the very near future. And that's not a hot take. That's not me pulling a typical Kinner. Kev, you know I'm right. Patrick Mahomes was a darling for what? The first 2? Now you root to, maybe not you, but when I say you, people root for him to fail now.
Right.
The newness factor is off. Lamar was a darling for the first year and a half, 2 years, right? Now people can't wait for him to fail.
Right.
And it happens all the time. Every athlete, elite athlete, has gone through this where they are loved and everyone, you know, is all about them to start. And then all of a sudden they turn on him. Joe Burrow checks off every box as a guy that will be turned on here. Not by you folks, of course. But I'm just saying he will be disliked here in the very, very near future. Jamar Chase will be disliked here very soon in the very, very near future because these guys are very cocky. They're very arrogant. And it was cute and adorable as the underdog first and second year guys in the league. But that shine's going to go away from a national perspective. So today on The Pivot, which is a fantastic freaking podcast, by the way, I'm not a Steelers fan. Justin Smith just said, he goes, can you talk some Steelers for a change? Geez, this is as close to the Steelers as I'll get, at least today. Ryan Clark, big fan of his. Not that I wasn't a fan of his at the beginning. At the beginning, he was just another ESPN analyst that was on there with one of many. But now, like, I really do. I focus in on a lot of his work. I think The Pivot is awesome. One of my favorite episodes is the one with Antonio Brown, where this is Ryan Clark's baby, and Antonio Brown is unleashing on him, and he's sitting there trying to be as professional as he can. But you know he's calling him every name in the book, and you know what episode I'm talking about.
Yeah, man.
It's a great podcast, but they had the big three on today, Tyler Boyd, T. Higgins, and Jamar Chase. And they were actually in Cincinnati recording this. I thought that was pretty cool. They did take a shot at Cleveland. They said how they were expecting it, you know, that Cincinnati was nicer than they thought and that they actually expected to be like Cleveland. No, it wasn't Cleveland. So there you go. But Jamar Chase was asked, the receiving unit as a whole was asked, the Mount Rushmore of defensive backs in the league today, like the one that just you get amped up to go up against. This was the response. It was a unsolicited Browns response.
I just give you one, Denzel Ward off dunk. I think that's for all three of us. You know what I'm saying? Not just because Cleveland talked the most, but just because, you know what I'm saying, Denzel Ward did his thing. You know what I'm saying? Same for Greg Newsom. I don't think he elite, but they all just talk crazy. So it ain't somebody we circling. We see them.
Tighten up for.
Ain't even that. It's just it's game time when we see him. Ain't no crunch up game. It's on site. Like, yeah.
So, first of all, can't say we don't circle it, but you just spend a lot of time talking about the one guy that you're going to face this year. Look, bottom line is why? What are you doing? Like, the thing is, the only one talking bleep is you. is the wide receivers. And by the way, not even the wide receivers, because Jamar's too selfish of a person to let the other two talk. Could Tyler Boyd have an opinion, please? Could T. Higgins speak for himself? No, I think I speak for all three of us. I'd be like, no, dude, you don't speak for me. I'm going to answer too. No. Why are you starting something? Why you have to start why the smack talk? But you know what? I love this, Kev, because this is what I wanted. I wanted stars on both rosters. I wanted it's there. The rivalry is there. Like, you could already start to see it now. It's trickling into the players. It's not like, look, these uber athletic, not athletic, but just, competitive dudes. Like, you not dislike, but you on game day, you especially dislike the dude across from you on game day. But there's just something different that's buzzing right now about the Browns and the Bengals. I liked what I heard today from Jamar Chase. That's cool. Because what that says to me is there's something there. There's something boiling there. Browns, Bengals. I've been saying for years, I can't wait for when both are at the top of the conference, of the division. Maybe that's now. I know the Bengals are there. I know the Browns will be there once they get this QB situation figured out. But even without that, stacked rosters. But yeah, I'm not mad that Jamar Chase said this. I love that Jamar Chase said this. I love that, players are chirping now. I love this. This is that old school football of, I don't like you. You're not on my team.
Right.
I love this. This is why I think I liked Baker early on, is because Baker had a lot of that chippiness to him as well. The difference is while he talked and was chippy, he wasn't doing what Jamar Chase was doing, which was balling out. Like, Jamar Chase could back it up, but gotta be careful though, because I'm going to remember this. I keep receipts like a psycho girlfriend. I'm telling you right now. So I'm going to remember this. And the thing is, he balled out against a lot of teams last year. Didn't ball out against the Browns. Oh, I'm sorry. He cheated his way to get the rookie record by playing a few snaps so he can get a few catches against the Browns' third team, because that's what he does. He beat up on the Ravens' third and fourth string dudes. He beat up on the Chiefs' historically bad secondary. And then he went and beat up on back up to the backup Browns defensive backs in the last game of the season so that he could break a record, which I think is so cheap. And you don't do that. You do that in games that matter. But anyways, I love it. I can't wait. Browns, Bengals. I cannot wait. And I'm so glad that the players are cutting them out. Like I said, I haven't heard when was Newsome talking? Is there any press clippings out there of Newsome talking smack about the Bengals?
I think they're talking about on the field.
Everyone chirps. Everyone chirps. And you know who wasn't chirping? Browns, Bengals. Jamar wasn't chirping that day. There's nothing to chirp about. Joe Burrow throwing interceptions left and right. Jamar Chase finally faced a good secondary and couldn't do anything. I mean, it's amazing what happens when that happens. Trying to beat up third, fourth string Ravens defensive backs 2 times a year, beating up on the Chiefs. Just saying. There was a 7-game stretch where he didn't have more than 50 receiving yards. But hey, anyways, I can't wait.
You know who else keep receipts?
Who?
Our listeners.
And that's fine. But I ate the crow last year.
and you still haven't learned anything.
What haven't I learned? I've acknowledged how good the Bengals are, but I'm also I'm not gonna be immune. They're not immune to me being critical when it's time to be critical. Besides, most teams take a step back after making it to the Super Bowl. All right, and losing that Super Bowl hangover. Let's see what happens first. But in all seriousness, pretty cool though here. I think it was the first and I got to pull it up real quick because my computer is, of course, freezing. But the depth chart for the Bengals came out today.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty solid, pretty stacked. That offensive line, seeing that Lyle Collins, and then those are the, Karras and those guys. And, if that's what it is, fine. Obviously, a lot of injuries they're trying to get through. But, man, they got a couple weeks to get healthy and all that fun stuff. Look, I want the Bengals fully healthy, ready to go. All right, I want them ready to go because I can't wait. They couldn't beat the Browns with Baker Mayfield. Just saying. Luckily for them, Baker's no longer in the division.
They got rid of their arch nemesis.
Everyone thinks it's the new O-line that's going to be the big difference maker for the Bengals this year. No. Baker's not in the division anymore. You're welcome. There you go. So it is what it is. All right. 518-1410. That's the number to call and jump in on the conversation. But overall, anyways, you hear those comments. I mean, we pick and choose, and they were beating up, taking shots at your Steelers, taking shots at the Ravens and all that stuff.
I mean, think about it. Like, they blew the first game that they blew the Ravens out. The Ravens were still at their healthiest. Lamar was still playing.
They weren't healthy coming into the year, but healthiest. Fine.
Marlon Humphrey was still out there in the secondary and everything like that. They balled out against them. They blew the Steelers out twice and everything like that. They currently going into the season, they're the AFC North champs. So they can talk big and reckless. But we're going to see what happens on the field.
They could talk big and reckless?
Yeah. Yeah.
Oof.
To victor goes to spoils.
What victor?
They won the division.
They lost the Super Bowl. They ain't no chance.
They are the division champs.
That don't mean nothing. It really doesn't mean anything. It really doesn't.
Would you want to be in a division champ?
If the Browns won the division championship and lost in the Super Bowl, would Bengals fans be saying,
no, I didn't ask you that.
Browns.
That wasn't my question.
They're the division champs, baby.
That wasn't my question.
That's my answer.
I didn't ask you that.
Well, re-ask the question.
Would you have been happy if the Browns won the division last year?
No, they lost the Super Bowl. Look, Joe Burrow's happy with losing. He celebrated the loss an hour after the game on stage with Kid Cudi.
I know it's a old phrase now, but cap.
We're going to do a segment called Cap or No Cap. Cap or No Cap, new segment.
You be capping.
Coming to the show on Thursday, Cap or No Cap.
You be capping.
I'm now cool because I know what cap means. It's that thing you put on your drink.
A nightcap.
A nightcap. There we go. All right, I'll be back. We'll be back. No cap.
Listen, stream, watch. It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash, right here on Dayton's ESPN Radio, 1410 Wing AM.
How do you make the most of your land? If you ask the Wrens, who run with us on a John Deere mower, they tell you,
I mow first, then I do all the trimming.
But the Hubbards, who work behind the wheel of a John Deere compact tractor, would say,
if it's something you want, just go after it and try it.
Then there's the Mosers, who may mention from the seat of their John Deere Gator UTV.
You can't be all work and not play.
There are millions of ways to make the most of your land. Learn how to make the most of yours at Deere.com. Nothing runs like a Deere.
Dealing with an outdated printer that just can't keep up with you? Visit Staples and upgrade to a new HP Envy Inspire with HP Plus, HP's best home printer. And it comes with 6 months of free ink. It prints everything you need, from homework and work documents to incredible photos and more with amazing quality. Right now, save $70 on the HP Envy Inspire 7955E, available at Staples. Offer valid through August 27th. See staples.com/HP Plus for details.
The Motor City Madman is back. Ted Nugent, Detroit Muscle 2022.
August 11th, Rose Music Center at the Heights.
Got me a rock and roll band, it's a fever all.
Tickets on sale now at Ticketmaster.com or the Rose Music Center box office. Album available now. Go ahead and Ted Nugent.
Looking for dippable chicken that's done right? Just stop by Lee's Famous Recipe Chicken for the 10-piece strips meal at a great price. You'll get 10 premium chicken tenderloins that are freshly marinated, honey-dipped, hand-breaded, and cooked to crispy perfection, along with 2 of our large sides, 5 fluffy biscuits, and 3 of your favorite dipping sauces. These are the best strips, no bones about it. Make your family and your wallet happy with a 10-piece strips meal, only at Lee's. Famous for chicken.
Hey, here to tell you about my friends at Cordell Transportation. They're now hiring Class A CDL drivers and offering a $5,000 sign-on bonus. That's right, a $5,000 sign-on bonus. Home daily, dedicated lanes, and no-touch freight. Brand new equipment as well. Medical, dental, vision, and company-paid life insurance. Apply online at CordellTransportation.com. Cordell Transportation, driven to succeed.
Hello, it's John Kozik, founder and president of TurboTrack Realty, and I buy real estate as is, fast for cash. Give us a call today for an all-cash offer at 614-470-2000, 614-470-2000. I buy inherited properties, vacant homes, rentals, commercial properties, and apartment buildings. Give us a call today and speak with one of our friendly staff members at 614-470-2000, 614-470-2000.
You have empty office space to fill or home office to create. You know what you need. You know what you'd like. But you also have a pretty good idea after you've shopped around the usual places what you need and what you like might not happen. Well, then you haven't been to Charles Larrick's Warehouse Outlet. Nobody has their selection. Nobody has their discounts. And every week there's something new. If you need office furniture, Larrick's Warehouse Outlet can sell it to you for half the price and below manufacturer's selected prices. Half price and below on hundreds of items. Selection from budget to the best. Really, desks from $50 to $5,000. Filing cabinets from $25 to $500. Before you go anywhere else, do yourself a favor and come to Larrick's Warehouse Outlet. With 25,000 square feet of selection, you're not going to go anywhere else. Larrick's Warehouse Outlet at 23 McOil Avenue, Dayton. Open Monday through Friday, 9 to 6. Larrick's, continuing the tradition.
For a beautiful look that protects and stays clean, choose Dutch Boy Paint from Menards, now all 11% off. Get quality products with smart technology like mildew-resistant coating, stain shield, and dirt-resistant paint and primer in the award-winning Dutch Boy Twist and Pour containers. Get 11% off everything, including the full line of Dutch Boy paints, now at Menards. Good through August 14th. Savings or mail-in rebate. Some exclusions apply. See store for details.
Save big money at Menards.
Staples has everything you need for school at prices that won't hold you back. Don't send your kids back to school. Send them forward at Staples, the working and learning store.
There are many ways to catch the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash on 1410 ESPN Radio, weekdays from 3 to 6 p.m. You can catch it live right here on 1410 Wing AM, or you can stream the show at wingam.com. But now we have another way that you can take in the show. You can now watch the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash live on ESPN Dayton's Facebook page. Listen, stream, watch. It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash, weekdays from 3 to 6 p.m. on 1410 ESPN Radio. Whether you're at home, at work, or in your car, tune in to ESPN 1410 Wing AM or stream us live at wingam.com.
Try that again, shall we? Welcome back. It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash, live here on Dayton's ESPN radio station, 1410 Wing AM. So Paul Brown Stadium is Paul Brown Stadium no more. The Cincinnati Bengals tweeted out earlier today, I should say, that they have sold the naming rights to the stadium. They're excited to announce that the Jungle is now Paycor Stadium, or as what common sense tells you, we can finally pay Joe Burrow Stadium. The naming rights that they sold, of course, and again, this is going to come across once more as the I Hate the Bengals segment. It's not. I see some takes that I roll my eyes at, because what are just common sense business practices are being, someone's getting all the credit for it. I just don't understand. Ben Baby covers the Bengals for ESPN, says that the Bengals selling their naming rights further underscores nearly everything about how the franchise operates and how the franchise operates have changed as soon as Joe Burrow came to town. So Joe Burrow is responsible for the naming rights. Joe Burrow is responsible, according to Ben Baby and others, for the Ring of Honor. Joe Burrow's to the new jerseys, the indoor practice. Stop. You needed to wait to get a Joe Burrow to get an indoor practice facility. You needed to wait to get a Joe Burrow before you got a Ring of Honor. You needed to stop. Be excited about your quarterback, but my gosh, you got to stop wetting your pants. And every good thing that happens with the Bengals is it's that Joey B feller. No, it's as simple as, well, finally, the owner's doing some common sense things that should have been done a long time ago. The stadium naming rights should not have been sold to get money to pay Joe Burrow. The stadium naming rights should have been sold a long time ago to have more money to pay players a long time ago. Maybe it wouldn't have taken so long to get a Joe Burrow, which obviously I think fans are happy with dealing with the 4 and the 2 and the 4 last season to get to this point, of course. But Joe Burrow is responsible for a ton of what's on the field, but stop. Joe Burrow's not why they got new jerseys. Joe Burrow's not why they got a Ring of Honor. Joe Burrow's not why Joe Burrow to pay Joe Burrow, maybe why they sold the naming rights. But that was a business move, as was the Ring of Honor, as was the new jerseys. Stop with everything having to be because of, my goodness. It's so much. It's over the top. It's so obnoxious. Like, it really is. Oh, you're just jealous because your quarterback is a bum. Well, my quarterback's not the best human being in the world. I get that. But even if you take that away, I don't think that we'd be saying that Jesus and the quarterback is responsible for all the greatest things on earth. Can we stop with that?
The naming rights, they can't use that money I mean, it doesn't matter how much the team is worth. It's not like they can
put
pay
money
him
in escrow
more
and all that stuff. I mean, it's
backdoor
ways to have extra funding and revenue coming into to support some of that. But yes, there are a lot of reporters. I mean, there's a lot out there talking about how this was done from a financial perspective because they need that money to be able to invest, to be able to have that extra for down the road. But it shouldn't. What took so long? I mean, I'm glad they did it. I'm not going to crap on that. They're doing like the indoor practice facility. Super. What took so long, but it's being done, and we'll forget about that they win as long as they did without it eventually and all that fun stuff.
Yeah, naming rights to stadiums and indoor practice facilities, all that type of stuff should have been happening. I mean, you don't have to have a good football team to have your stadium have naming rights. I mean, what the Jacksonville Jaguars, what they're named after a cell phone company or whatever. Like, these venues are just looking, well, not venues, but these companies are looking to have their brand all over something. And what's better than an NFL stadium, a big billboard in the middle of a city? So yeah, it shouldn't have took this long. Like, I know people in Pittsburgh and the Steelers got all bent out of shape because it was no longer Heinz Field, and they took the ketchup bottle and it was like kind of branded as the Steelers way and all that type of stuff. But you know what? As speaking from a franchise perspective, hey man, it goes to the highest bidder. Like, it doesn't matter who it is, who's giving up the most money. And that's what all NFL franchises are always worried about. Where are we going to get the most money? That's where their TV contracts are so enormous with the networks and everything like that. So the sponsorship for their stadium should be higher. I mean, we look at Michigan State basketball. They're not just the Michigan State basketball Spartans. They're like the Quicken Loans Spartans or something like that. Like, they have to be recognized as such whenever they're going on the road and everything like that, because they sold those naming rights to the team. So we got courts named after coaches. I'm surprised that the courts aren't named after sponsors by now. Like, we're playing at Cameron Indoor Stadium at Coach K Court on blah, 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 supermarket court. Like, sell it all. I mean, we got patches on NBA jerseys like it's NASCAR. It is what it is. If people are willing to buy it, you should sell it.
Other NFL news today. How about, things go from bad to worse for the Chicago Bears. How about all-pro linebacker Roquan Smith requesting a trade? Talks about the frustrations. Ian Rappaport tweeted this out earlier today, that the backloaded offer, which wouldn't make him the highest paid in actual salary, included a proposed de-escalators that not a single player out of the 94 non-QB 50-plus mil contract has. He was offended. That deal would hurt the linebacker market as a whole. There's many other reasons why. He said they weren't they weren't negotiating in good faith, and he's just requesting a trade. Look, we know the Bears are a complete dumpster fire, but this is another example here. I don't know why teams do this. Like, while you have the money to secure him now, that's a key position. Secure him now. Waiting to find out if you have the QB, waiting to find out if you have this, that, or the other. You're running in place because while you're waiting for all this great talent to show up, all right, that means you're relying on the same lack of bad scouting and bad drafting that you've done in recent history to all of a sudden be fixed overnight. You got to be the aggressors. Like, you got to go implement the changes within the franchise for things to change. I think that taking care of him was very important. I saw someone say this is very similar, the Bengals are just as bad with how they've handled Jesse Bates. The Bengals are I'm defending them now. They're in a completely different area of space than the Bears. Jesse Bates, of course, the Bengals would love to have, but they haven't financially prioritized him because they have other bigger, more key positions they have to lock up here in the near future. The Bears, you have no excuse. You have a quarterback on on year 2 of his rookie deal. Your best wide receiver, your best offensive target, and Will Robinson, or whatever his name is, Robinson, left after last year. So I just don't get the Bears here. They're literally, I think, the worst franchise in football right now, which is so strange to say because they have such a historical aura to them, but they're just historically inept right now. And I don't understand it because I think that this is absolutely ridiculous. I get why the Bengals are having issues trying to keep, obviously, their top defensive player. There's no excuse for why the Bears can't, because they have no other financial commitments at this point. This should not have been something that they were trying to negotiate on bad faith.
Who's a better inside linebacker than him? Fred Warner, maybe Darius Leonard? I think I'm out.
Taken care of.
I think I'm out.
Yeah.
And especially with the Chicago Bears, I mean, Lord knows you're not known for offense outside of Walter Payton. You're known for defense. And not only known for defense, you're known for linebackers. And not only linebackers, known for inside linebackers. Dick Buckeyes, Brian Urlacher, Roquan Smith. Take care of him. Pay him. Give him what he deserves because he's the top 5 inside linebacker in the NFL. And I mean, for goodness sakes, if you're not going to take care of him, then trade him. Send him somewhere else. Be like, all right, well, we're not going to pay you, so trade him. Like, don't like he's talking about negotiating in good faith and everything like that. Well, if you're not going to do it, then just trade him. Then just trade him and get some picks for him, and then try to, if you're going to go full rebuild, just go ahead and get rid of him.
Where do you think he goes? Your team could afford him.
Yeah, I would like it. I would like it a lot.
Baltimore can't afford him. They're about to pay Lamar. The Bengals can't, unless it's trading for a 1-year deal. But you know, I don't see that that's the case. I think a lot of teams could trade for him on a 1-year deal. The Chargers could make him run at him. I think that look out for the Chargers. Who
probably the Rams.
Look out for the Rams. You're right.
Probably. I mean, you got to think it's got to be somebody
they
that
don't have the assets to do
they don't have the assets. Maybe I'm just thinking out loud, but maybe even Kansas City, somewhere like that, somewhere that needs a inside linebacker that can control the middle of the field and put people in the right position to make plays.
They have
things like that.
They have available money right now because they did not agree to the deal with Tyreek Hill. All the money that was supposed to be locked into Tyreek Hill, they couldn't get that done, and they absorbed a lot. So they would have draft picks. They would have the money, and it wouldn't have to be marrying him long term. It could just be, hey, adding a key. They were bad defensively last year. The Chiefs were. He'd be a great addition to them.
He could even go, like you say, he could go to KC, and maybe that's a conversation that Kansas City can have with him. Like, look, man, we don't know if we're going to be able to keep you long term, but guess what?
Come compete for a Super Bowl.
Exactly.
Hang out in the basement
and make your stock go even higher. You win a Super Bowl, you can go to the worst team in the league and make the biggest check in the world. And guess what? You have a Super Bowl ring to go with it. So that would be my pitch if I was the Kansas City Chiefs. I would try to get them to fix that defense.
Your team has a quarterback on a rookie contract. They can afford. I mean, the Steelers can make a run if they wanted to. It wouldn't make sense for them. I think they're a good competitive team.
Yeah, I just don't think he's going to take. Yeah, he's not going to take them over the top. He'll make them better, but I mean, I personally think that their defense is going to be way better than it was last year, and they were pretty solid last year. But I mean, the additions,
Smith and
Miles Jack,
man,
yeah, it would be nasty. It would be nasty. But I mean, shoot, you were literally putting all your money in your defense because you just paid Minka, you just paid T.J. Watt. I mean, you did pay Deontay Johnson a little bit of money and everything like that. And I mean, and Cam Hayward got paid like 2 years ago. So all your money would be on your defense. You would be looking like you're trying to play football in the 1990s. Like, look, we're going to win games like the Ravens did their first Super Bowl, 9-0.
So, I mean, the teams that you got to think to look out for. I mean, Carolina is another interesting team that can go that route. They have money to spend because, again.
And they already have a good defense, too.
And like that could be their thing. Like, okay, we like what we have on offense. Baker's had a very good camp. More reports come out today that he's again just winning that offensive staff over more and more as each day goes on. I don't know if he's winning them over as is Sam Darnold's losing them, but it is what it is. But if they're known for that defense, and then you have a couple good weapons on the offense, I mean, Carolina could be an interesting fit. I think the Steelers are an interesting fit, but again, anything they would have to give up, it wouldn't make sense because it's not like they're, oh man, if we just had solid linebacker play, that's the difference between third and winning the division. I don't think that's the case. I mean, looking around the league, I mean, the Raiders just, they don't have the cap to do it.
No cap.
The Chargers do. I imagine Khalil Mack and their secondary, and then putting him there in the middle with that linebacker core. I mean, the Chargers could be a team that kind of make a run for him as far as that's concerned. The Patriots, don't count out the Patriots. They have a team on a rookie contract. I could see the Patriots kind of going and making a run, but very similar. I don't know how much that would make sense for them as well. I'm fascinated by this. We'll see. Look out for the Dallas Cowboys because they're
I was about to say that.
In that as well. Philadelphia or Washington. I mean, can you imagine Washington, the Commanders? I don't know when there's, you get Chase Young when he comes back. Imagine having Chase Young and Smith there. I mean, Good for them. Good for them if that's the case. But I'm fascinated to see where he ends up. Buffalo, no space there. Maybe Miami, whatever. More of the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash when we come back.
The Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash. Presented by Brad Mays with Home Experts Realty. Weekdays at 3 p.m. on 1410 ESPN Radio.
The DEA says Dayton is one of the nation's hardest hit places when it comes to overdoses and drug-related violent crime. News Center 7 is talking with agents to give you an inside look at the new operation designed to save lives. Today on News Center 7, beginning at 5.
Carrie Underwood, Thomas Rhett, Maren Morris. On the next Entertainment Tonight, we're backstage for the iHeart Country Festival.
Every single act is at the top of their game.
Next ET, tonight at 7:30 on Channel 7.
Now's the time to get a great deal on Kubota construction equipment, featuring durable Kubota engines, more comfort, more productivity, more get it done right. The Kubota construction lineup shows up ready to work every day. Right now, bring home select Kubota equipment for 0 down, 0% APR for up to 36 months. Now through September 30th. See us or go to KubotaUSA.com for more details.
See Columbus Equipment Company, 7570 New Carlisle Pike in Dayton.
Bill was tired of saying no to his kids because of his debilitating pain.
I have 3 kids that are 13 and under. Every day they're asking, Dad, can we take a bike ride? Dad, can we play ping pong? Unfortunately, in the past, I had to sadly say no quite often.
An accident left Bill with aching knees and shoulders. Even after 4 knee surgeries, Bill still felt constant pain in his knees. And then he discovered QC Kinetics and their natural biologic therapies.
I did it on the knee. It really became life-changing. I've had the same results with the shoulder.
QC Kinetics non-invasive regenerative treatments help restore damaged tissue and provided much-needed relief for knees, hips, shoulders, and backs.